bringing you the latest news from Coronado Athletics. This is the Mustang Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Good Monday evening and welcome into the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We're going to start with the Mustang Fan Zone here in just a minute. Reminder, on Monday nights we go LISD school, so we go Coronado, Estacado, Lubbock High, Monterey in that order, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Wednesday nights are Friendship, Lubbock, Cooper, Liberty, 6 to 7 p.m. But it's a Monday night, so we're going to start with the Mustang Fan Zone. If you're watching on TV, I'm going to have these young ladies introduce themselves by voice so you know who's talking. If you're watching on TV, Coronado softball coach Monique Garcia is on my extreme far left, who looks young enough to be one of her own players. You two ladies, introduce yourselves. Remember what he said. Use your outdoor voice.
Hi, I'm Abigail Madrid with Coronado High School.
Hi, I'm Allie Garcia with Coronado High School.
Shortstop?
Pitcher.
Pitcher, okay. So shortstop talked a little bit louder. I promise. That's the last dad joke I'll try to make. I'm glad that you guys came in because you're coming off of a big win. Mo, that was your first district win.
Correct.
So you got to start somewhere. You got to get momentum building. Yeah. And I looked at your schedule. You have a chance to stack a few up here.
I do. And I've talked to the girls about the importance of each game that we have coming up and securing those wins. And I think they're more than capable of picking up some wins along our entire rest of the schedule that we have going on. We have a great group, and so I'm just waiting on them to execute. Our word that we use a lot this year is to execute, and so we need to execute everything that we're capable of doing, and picking up some wins here is definitely something that we can execute.
You guys are 6-9?
We are 7-7 overall, okay. And 1-3 in district.
1-3. Like I said, you got to start somewhere. And in your district, so talked about this with Sherry Colwell a few weeks when she's on. Lubbock Cooper is probably the team to beat this year, but Monterey lost some girls. They're not quite the same Monterey they have been. Lubbock High is a little bit better, so it's a little bit your district's in flux. The door's wide open.
Correct. I think that, in my opinion, Lubbock Cooper is the most. They have the most returners, and so I expect them to still be, as good as they have been. And so I would agree with your opinion there, and who's ranking there. And
this is year number 3 for you?
Correct.
All right. Have you girls been with Coach all 3 years? I know. Just 2 years?
Yes.
I'm trying to age you a little bit because you're a sophomore.
I'm a sophomore.
So you brought
a couple of young ones today.
All right. You also look. By the way, you look like you could be sisters. I'm sure, Coach.
Didn't you guys get that? They just got that recently. And somebody asked them if they were twins. They're not.
Sometimes it's just okay to say yes. Tell me what Coach said, that you guys have a chance to kind of build some momentum. Start with you.
I feel like we could really execute against the teams that we play in district, and I feel like we have a good chance this year. Like, just the team overall, we execute a lot.
I just feel like if we come together and we work together, that we have a really good chance of winning. Like, I feel like the chemistry's there. We just need to all put it together and make it work.
Abby, you said you were on varsity last year.
Yes, sir.
Allie, were you also varsity?
No.
Okay, so you're getting your first taste of this. Let her follow up her question. What's it been like as a varsity player to get used to? It's cool for me to see when you guys get up to varsity, because when you're in middle school and freshman, you probably don't have to break down scouting reports, look at video and all that. You have to do a little bit more when you're a varsity player.
It's very a different community when you're like going from JV to varsity. Of course, there's more pressure, but you also, it's also the good thing that you have the competition and you want to work harder. You want to be better when you're on varsity.
You have to come on radio once in a while. That's not a good part, is it?
I actually had to drag her here today. She was a little bit nervous.
Coach has probably been talking to media since she was your age. When did you get to be a varsity player for JJ at Coronado?
So I was varsity as a freshman at Friendship, but then I transferred over to Coronado, and I was on varsity as a sophomore.
So we were talking. You're part of J.J. Johnson's coaching tree. You're one of the branches. Danielle over at Lubbock High, Quinn Fortner McNeely at Trinity Christian, and then you told me there's another one.
Tegan Kirk, my assistant coach. She was my catcher throughout my entire career there at Coronado, and so she's experienced firsthand, every single win and every single loss and every single moment with Coach Johnson. So she knows the expectation and what we're trying to do.
Have these girls met JJ?
Not really,
okay.
And I think Coach Johnson is a lot nicer these days. So they haven't met Coach Johnson.
Coach J.J. Johnson, you may have seen him out at your
They
games.
hear about him all the time.
Okay.
They do.
I teased him once. I said, why did they name the field after somebody other than you? And he went into a long spiel about who Mr. Rosenau was.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll give him some slack. Third year, Coronado softball has a strong tradition. I mentioned Monterey had their run, but before that, Coronado was the program. These girls are part of the foundation now. What do you want to do, or what do they have to do to get that revved back up?
I think ultimately it's just competing and not backing down to anybody that we play. I always say, like, back in my day, it was like Monterey's not going to beat us. Lubbock Cooper's not going to beat us. We wanted the hard teams, and we weren't scared of a challenge, and the names didn't mean anything. It was whoever stepped on the field ready to compete was going to take the game. And, that showed a lot in playoffs. There's a lot of Metroplex teams who we could have failed to or been intimidated by, and I think that just not being scared is something that we have to, I guess, get a little better at, and competing, knowing that we can. Just kind of like self-confidence and believing in themselves. So
that's what Coach wants. How do you guys do that?
I feel like just working on your own, doing the little things right, and just really focusing on working on yourself.
What about you, Abby?
Just coming together, like all together on the field, and no matter who we face, step on the field with confidence.
Sometimes when you're young, that can be easier when you're young because you don't realize that, hey, Monterey's been really good. Lubbock Cooper's got to just go out and just be you.
Yeah. And, these girls play some crucial roles on our team, and they are young. And so I think now if they can learn to have that confidence in themselves, it'll definitely carry over with the other players as well.
I'm going to come back and talk about what they bring and some of your other players. We're coming up on a break. Reminder, this is the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We'll be followed up by Estacado, Lubbock High, Monterey in that order. When we come back after this break, we'll talk more Coronado softball on the Mustang Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta, and this is 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Coronado athletics. You're listening to the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score on the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back into the Mustang Fan Zone on a Monday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. We're talking Coronado softball. I want you two girls, before we went to the break, Coach talked about some things that you have done to become leaders. You guys are young. Are you even 16 yet? Do you drive to school yet?
No.
So I can tell you I'm probably glad about that. I wasn't ready for my daughter to drive. But you have to be leaders even though you're young. Abby, how do you learn to do that? How do you embrace that when you're a young player?
I look up to the seniors a lot. Just every single one of them have really trusted me, and just looking up to them helps a lot.
What about you, Allie?
I always try to keep like a good attitude going throughout the game, and Bree's really good at that. She's a senior, and I just really try to keep the game positive as much as we can so we can still like cheer and have fun while we can.
You guys have some time left on the clock. Those seniors who have been around with Coach and haven't been to the playoffs, they're hungry. Who are some of those girls, Mo, that...
We have Layla. Layla was out with an injury last year, so that kind of took away one of her years. And she's hot right now. She's a pitcher, and she is a first baseman, and she's a part of our big hitter crew. We have Anna. Anna came to us from Mexico, and she's one of the hungry kids that we have, and it's contagious. And so I think that her being a senior, that definitely it's infectious. Everyone feels it. And so we have Neve Subia. She's one of our catchers, and she's aggressive, I think that they all resemble some type of hunger within themselves. And like she said, there's Bree Santos, and she's a cheerleader, and it shows on the field, her energy. And I always tell her, whether it's good or it's bad, it's infectious, because you have that to you, your personality there. So she's pretty upbeat and keeping the team, cheering and positive. And so they all bring something to the table, and it's a great group.
And she's got to be athletic too.
Yeah, she's actually a right-handed hitter that we turned into a slapper because she's so fast, and she's great. She's caught on, and so she's a great asset to the team.
To me, that's something fairly new. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention that there are a lot of cheerleaders that are also, they play sports. That's not something that
the personality is great to add to the team.
Absolutely.
So she's always ready to come up with a cheer or start a cheer or cheer on the field, and so it's great.
So this is something that's taken me a while to get used to watching softball. Y'all do weird stuff in the dugout. Is there something that Coronado does in the dugout that I need to be on the lookout? Look at her. She's passing the microphone to her quick. Is there something that I need to be looking for that doesn't catch me off guard when I come and watch you guys?
No, sir.
No? Oh, so you handed her the microphone really quick.
I like our home run celebration.
What is it?
We'll use Anna as an example, like, oh, hell, Anna. Like, I think that's pretty fun.
They yell bruh a lot. And so this new age of kids, they're weird. And so
I've got one.
They feed off of each other, and they're like, bruh, bruh, bruh. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind over here with you guys. So
you've got a little child of your own at home, right?
I do.
Okay. Because I've seen a shirt that says, when did I go from being mom to bruh?
Oh, yeah. Well,
so you've got that to look forward to.
Yeah, I do.
I guess I'm going to guess I know the answer to this. And maybe now JJ's going to get mad if he's listening.
I'm sure he is.
Did you all do celebrations in the dugout when JJ was coaching, or did you get the stink eye if you did?
No, we definitely did celebrations, and I was probably one of the ringleaders there. Coming up with weird stuff as well. And so I kind of let them do what they do in the dugout, and they crack me up. And sometimes I'm like, you guys are getting on my nerves. But if it helps, it helps.
When you've got young players especially, you kind of have to let them have their personality. That personality is going to start translating into success. That's kind of where it becomes. We live in a new, I'm going to sound like old man JJ here, we live in a much different era than even you played in. Why is this group so fun for you?
It's just different. I think that their chemistry within each other is a lot better. It's a lot smoother, and they find something to be positive about in every situation, and so I think that it's a good balance with. We're going to commercial. I think it's a good balance with the teams that I've had before and now, and so.
All right, that's Coronado softball. They come back this week. They play Bushland and then Plainview. We'll be back after the break with the Matador Fan Zone on 101.7 The Score.